welcome everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Oh, terrific. Hi, welcome. Shabbat Shalom and happy Hanukkah. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. And thank you to everyone who's joining on Zoom as well. We are so honored to host Dr. Tareq Abu Hamed from the Arava Institute Central tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm very excited for our conversation, very grateful to learn from you, so thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll do a brief introduction, but we'll get to know you better during the conversation, so thank you. So just briefly, Dr. Abu Hamed is from East Jerusalem originally. He holds a bachelor's and master's of science in chemical engineering from Gazi University in Turkey, and also a PhD in chemical engineering from Ankara University in Turkey. He's completed 2 terms of postdoctoral research, which is a lot. One at the Environmental Science and Energy Research Department of Weizmann Institute in Israel, and the University of Minnesota's Mechanical Engineering Department of Solar Energy. In 2008, Dr. Abu Hamed established the Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation at the Arava Institute. He left the institute in 2013 to become the Israeli Ministry of Science's deputy chief scientist and later the acting chief scientist. And he was the highest ranking Palestinian in the Israeli government at that time. He returned to the Arava Institute in 2016 as the director of the Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation, and he became the Arava Institute's executive director in 2021. It's incredible. And then just a word about the Arava Institute, and we'll learn more about it from you. But just by way of introduction, over the past 26 years, the Arava Institute has brought together nearly 1,800 Palestinian, Jordanian, Israeli students and other students from around the world to meet over challenges to the environment and finding solutions to those challenges that are peace building. So especially right now, it's incredible to have you here. I'm a huge fan of the Arava Institute, and as we get started, I would love for you to kind of tell us more about your work there and maybe paint a picture of what it's like, what a day-to-day looks like there, and a little bit about just the campus.
Okay, good evening. Happy Hanukkah. I'm very glad to see some friends, and I'm more glad to see new faces. The Hanukkah holiday is a holiday of light, and we really, especially during this time, we need such light in the middle of the darkness that we live in. And the work of the Arava Institute, that we'll talk more about it, it's the light that we see in that region. It's the hope, it's the Israel that we all would love to see in the Middle East. The Arava Institute is an academic and research institution that brings Palestinians, Israelis, students from the whole Middle East, North Africa, internationals, to come study together. We use the science, we use the environment as a diplomacy tool to connect between people, not only to prepare the future leaders to solve the region's environmental problems, but we use environment to connect them, to build understanding, to give them the opportunity to live together. The institute is located in Kibbutz Ktura, like 30 miles from the Gulf of Eilat Aqaba. And if you visited that region, you know that we are in the middle of nowhere. And students really live with each other 24/7. They go to the same dining room, to the same classroom, and at the end of the day, they share rooms. And they come to the institute for full semester or for full year. When I say they live with each other 24/7, I mean it. They live in this tiny bubble, in this tiny region, and they are exposed to the reality of the Middle East. When we established the Arava Institute, when the Arava Institute was established, the leadership thought, okay, we'll bring this young group of students and put them together, and they found a way to live together, and that did not work. That's why we decided at the Arava Institute to have the dialogue forum. It's 6 hours a week. It's a compulsory. Each student and intern have to go to these sessions. And in these sessions, they talk about politics, religion, culture, family stories, personal stories. Palestinian students tell their stories living in a refugee camp or in a Palestinian village or living in Gaza. Israeli Jewish students share their experience serving in the army. And you know, our region is, unfortunately, it's very dynamic. You always have a terror attack, or you have a war, or you have a conflict. And when the students are in this bubble at the Arava Institute, something happens in the north or in the Western Negev, the students, the first thing they decide to do is to talk about the conflict. Not that everyone goes to his or to her room and just open the TV or the laptop and watch the news. No, they say we are one community here and we want to discuss this because we live with each other. And they managed to do that because of the dialogue forum, because of the opportunity they had that they express themselves. They learn how to talk, they learn how to listen to each other and to build that kind of understanding. And understanding doesn't mean that I agree with you, but I believe that you believe that you're right, and you believe that I believe I'm right. And this is the understanding, and this is the trust. I know that you believe in your truth, and I know that you believe that I believe in my truth. And this is how they manage. This is how they keep the connection with each other. I'm talking to you right now, and there is a war in Gaza. Thousands of people are killed in both sides, and we have the semester in session. Students decided to stay together, Palestinians, Israelis, internationals, Jordanians, Moroccans, Sudanese, in the middle of this war. It was horrible, still horrible. And to be exposed to both sides, I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, has probably lost friends or know someone who lost someone in this war, and you are in one side, okay? But these students, myself, the staff of the Arava Institute, we are in both sides. We know Palestinians and we know Israelis. We have friends in Gaza, we have partners in Gaza, we have alumni in Gaza, and we have friends and we have staff that their kids are in the army. And you see students just calling their friends in Gaza, asking, I hope you are safe, I hope that you are still alive. And they're calling their friends from the same semester. We have 4 students who were called to the reserve duty. And you see them calling their friends who are fighting their people, the Palestinians, and they're calling them or sending them messages, I hope that you are safe. And this is what I meant when I said, this is the light, this is the hope that we want to see in the Middle East. How I envision the region is just giving the people the opportunity to see the human in the other, to have that dialogue, to keep that connection that we are missing. Both sides are humans, and once you give people the opportunity to see the human in the other, that's the game changer. That's how these people feel that being with the other during this difficult time, Israelis with Palestinians, Palestinians with Israelis, as a medication, as a therapy. When you are really sad, angry, upset, you feel the need to connect with the other, because you need something to remind you your humanity. And this is how these 1,800 people still in touch with each other.
That is incredible. and definitely a source of light right now during these dark times. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm wondering how you kind of, through your background in science and academia, kind of came to the idea of working with an organization that's both science and peace building. What brought you there?
Well, I'm an engineer. I have, at the beginning, nothing to do with, peace building or dialogue, but I live in East Jerusalem. And if you know Jerusalem, I live in the south, very close to a kibbutz called Ramat Rahel. It's in the southern part of Jerusalem. It's just like literally next door to my village. And I see my Jewish neighbor. I used to see my Jewish neighbor from the window of my home or the window of the bus that used to take me to my high school. And that was during the first Intifada. My high school was during the first Intifada. And I had the opportunity, because during the first Intifada, most of the schools in East Jerusalem were closed for security reasons. You have nothing to do, so you go volunteer or work, even when you are 15 or 16 years old. And I used to work and volunteer in kibbutz Ramat Rahel. And that was my first interaction with my Jewish neighbor. I wanted to improve my English, to have a few shekels a day. And that stayed inside me, that interaction with young people, with kibbutz, with this international community stayed inside me. So I left the country after I finished my high school. I lived in Turkey for 12 years, and I returned to Israel, then went to Minneapolis. And when I heard about the Arava Institute is looking for someone to establish the Center for Renewable Energy, I said, this is the place I want to be. It's because, first of all, because it's in a kibbutz. So I had that experience. It's to use the science to bring people together, to connect them together. And also, Minneapolis is minus 40 and Ketura is plus 40. So that's why I joined the Arava Institute. And I also wanted to give my daughters the same opportunity that I had to live that experience, to be with the other, because it's really stayed inside me. And then they decide how they want to continue. So we left Minneapolis and went to the Arava Institute. We lived there for 5 years, and I arrived to the kibbutz Ketura for the interview, and I said, "Oh my God, Tareq, you did a huge mistake. It's in the middle of nowhere. It was August, so hot." And I said, "You know what? You arrive to the kibbutz, respect them, go to the interview, and then you say no, okay?" I went to the interview. They interviewed me. I gave my lecture, and in my mind, I'm not staying. Until the former executive director said to me, "Let's go, yalla, let's go meet the students." It was a summer course. They were Jordanians, Israelis, Palestinians, probably like 12, 15 students. I had a coffee with them, 10 minutes, and they said, "I'm staying here." That's how I got hooked to the Arava Institute, because science it's not only improves our lives, but also it's a great tool to bring people together. It's a global language. You go there for the sake of environment, for the sake of science, but the side product is the connection between people. When I see what our alumni become after they finish at the Arava Institute, this is what makes my day. This is what helps me handle that heat in the desert, or handle the conflict. Look, I probably passed this very quickly and said you have Palestinians and Israelis together in one place. These kids have really tough discussions. They cry, they shout. It's because they live the conflict. They feel the pain. You really see them crying, but they decide to continue this relationship with each other. It's it's not a honeymoon experience. No, it's a real experience, because they feel the pain of the other, and once you reach that level, you have very strong foundation. You have very strong base that they continue this relationship with each other. That's why I decided to continue with the Arava Institute. Yeah.
And once your students leave, do you see that they continue to stay connected, and that their work is also, in addition to their scientific research, they also continue at building peace and seeking out relationships with people who are different from they are?
They do. We have as with 1,800 alumni in the region. Most of them stay in the environmental field. We have professors here in the U.S., in Palestine, in Jordan, that they are graduates of the Arava Institute. They are ambassadors, first of all, ambassadors of Israel, ambassadors of the environment, ambassadors of peace. One student or one alumni doesn't stay one alumni. They impact a lot of communities when they go back to their villages, to their cities in Jordan, and also in the West Bank. We have an alumni network, and we keep in touch with our alumni. We have annual conference that we bring the alumni together. Once it happens in the West Bank, in Jordan, in Israel, and alumni come. It's like kind of reunion for them. It's because it's inside them, the Arava Institute, and you see how quickly they connect with each other. You see an alum from 1997 and alum from 2022, and they feel like that they were at the same semester because they have this common language. And also we have what we call the Alumni Innovation Fund, because we want to have that community, because we want to keep that connection. It's not only to have them meet once a year together, we want them to start businesses, start startups. And we have this Alumni Innovation Fund to help them create joint startups, Palestinians, Israelis together, Jordanians, Israelis together, Jordanians, Palestinians together. And we see how they interact during difficult times. You see that they have weekly Zooms, regional Zooms, and also the whole alumni community Zooms. Before a few days, we had Gazan alum who posted on Facebook, guys, thank you so much for asking about my safety. I'm still alive. And you see these kind of interactions, because Gaza now, they don't have internet. You send a message to your Gazan partner, and you really see only one V. And you really don't know, they don't have internet connection, or maybe they died, or they've been killed. And you are in stress until you see two Vs, or they respond to you. And you see this community, students and alumni, we're sending a lot of messages to this guy. He said, thank you for asking. I was not able to connect. I'm still alive. You see a lot of examples. They create groups, solidarity groups with each other. They also have regional gatherings, also in the US, in Jordan, in Palestine. And we have a lot of non-governmental organizations in the West Bank, in Israel, in Jordan, that they were established by the alumni of the Arava Institute, the companies for profit on renewable energy, on water, that they were established by the alumni of the Arava Institute. We have faculty members at the Arava Institute. We have partners in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Jordan, that they are graduates of the Arava Institute. So we see the impact.
And it's a little hard to imagine these days, and we're so polarized right now, and I think people are so much in pain that it's sometimes hard to reach out and listen and hear somebody else's pain. So how are you seeing your students on campus coming together right now? How are you seeing the alumni come together? I think these kinds of stories are rare, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, they are rare, but the Arava Institute is really the proof that this can happen. Bringing people together and really feeling the human in the other is possible. Even if your friend is a soldier, or if your friend is a Gazan, you can have that type of dialogue that we really need. We know that the country is polarized in Israel before this war. We know campuses here in the U.S. are also polarized, and that because of the lack of connection, lack of giving people the opportunity to talk, to give the students the tool to how to talk, how to listen, and this is what they get at the Arava Institute. It's not easy. It's horrible. I remember the first day of the war. I usually wake up and go to my mom. We live in the same building. I drink coffee with her, and then I start my day. And I went up. I had a chat with my mom. I had a coffee. That was on Saturday morning. I did not watch the news, and I went to the grocery store. And I just stepped in the grocery store, and I heard boom, boom in the sky. And I understood these are rockets from Gaza because we see them, we know them. And I called the guy in the grocery store and said, come see what's going on. And he said, this is since 6:30, and you did not watch the news? And I said, no, what's going on? And he said, Hamas is in Sderot. And I said, come on, you're joking. And he said, look at the screen. I looked at the screen, and I see these pickups, and I said, come on, this is probably from Syria or from somewhere else. I did not believe that. And when it was very hard for me to digest that. So my mind went immediately to my family, my staff. We have 2 days later, we have international conference, and participants start to come from the US, from Morocco, from Jordan, from the West Bank. And all of this, like, kind of a movie in my head. I was like frozen. And I know what will happen on campus. We have students, and the scale of this, to see Hamas in Sderot, it's something that we never experienced. So I have all of these thoughts in my mind. And Sunday morning, I went down immediately to the institute, and you see everyone is in shock, but no one said I'm leaving. All the students decided to stay on campus, and there were no classes the first week of the war. Just students coming with each other. It's horrible. You receive phone calls from families here in the U.S. Families of Palestinian students. Is it safe? Is it safe there? Jewish students were waiting to be called for the reserve duty. Closure everywhere, but we managed to keep the semester, and this happens all the time. Every cycle that we have, we never saw a student who decided to leave the program. This rarely happens at the Arava Institute, and we decided to focus on solidarity. It's not said we'll not discuss any research. We have projects in Gaza, we have projects in the West Bank, and we said it's not the time for research. It's time just to do everything to keep the communication channel open with your partners, even though it's very, very hard. And you all remember the anger, the sadness during the first week. People had really still a very hard time to control their feelings. I see friends that I worked with many years, not only me, it's like the whole community of the Arava Institute, see posts that you cannot handle. But we have that capacity, the alumni, the students, the staff, to weigh things and to keep that balance and to understand that people are angry, they cannot control their feelings, and they're posting a lot of things that you cannot handle. And we, as I said, we focused on solidarity to keep that communication channel open till today. On a daily basis, we communicate with our Gazan partners. We don't ask them about research. We don't ask them about the projects that we have in Gaza. Just I hope that you're still safe, you're still okay, and they do the same thing. They respond, and this is the focus of the Arava Institute. Is it easy? It's not easy. It's not easy at all. You can imagine calling your Gazan friend and I call Kathy, the head of the academic department. His son is in the army, and it's hard. It's hard. Her kid is fighting you people, and you wish that her son is okay, and you wish that your friends and Palestinian friends are okay. And this just reminds you that you're just a human. You're really just a human, and you want to have everyone safe, everyone with high quality life. And these are the people of the Arava Institute. It's something that's very hard to handle. What happened on 7th of October, neither the brain or the heart can handle. But I hope that this will be really a wake-up call for all of us, that we need this connection. We need to expose Palestinians to the Israeli society. We need to expose the Israeli society to the Palestinian society. And that's the only way to end this cycle. And the students managed to keep this community, the alumni managed to keep this community because they lived that. They had that exposure to the other.
And as you're building these relationships, you're also engaging with the environment. You're doing peace building through your scientific work. And so I'm wondering, kind of, it's not just about the climate crisis, but you're really kind of pulling an ethic of mutual obligation and relationship from the climate crisis itself. So how does that figure into your work now? And I also know there's a tremendous environmental impact of the war. So what are you guys thinking about in terms of this just shared society, but really our shared Earth?
Okay, I came to the US 2 days ago. I was in Dubai for the United Nations Climate Conference, and I escaped for 2 hours to go and see Burj Khalifa. And you know, the first floor of Burj Khalifa is a huge mall. I thought the Mall of America in Minneapolis is the largest one. No, that's tiny besides that one. And I saw a sign says, buy one, get 3 free. And I was with David Lehr, the head of our international development department. I see, I bet you, it's like this is the first time you see such a sign. Buy one, get 3 free. And this is what we do at the Arava Institute. You come for the climate, and you get a lot of extra things. The dialogue, the connection, to see and when we talk about climate, the Middle East is considered as a hot spot when it comes to climate change. We feel the impact much more than any region in the world because we are in the middle between Europe and Africa, and any change in the climate in both sides impacts us significantly. The increase in temperature is much higher than any region in the world. The amount of floods, heat waves, the record of temperature increases, floods, the increase of the temperature of the Eastern Mediterranean, the acidity of the Eastern Mediterranean is increasing. We see a lot of invasive species in the sea. Marine biology migrate from the Red Sea to the Eastern Mediterranean because the temperature is high now there. You see birds, you see new animals, you see new plantations in the region. And you see, and that all of this impacts also the droughts, the heat waves, impacts the amount of water. And the region is famous with its water scarcity. And most of the work of the Arava Institute focuses on climate mitigation and adaptation. We develop technologies, we do research to help people in the region to adapt to climate change. We have 5 research centers on sustainable agriculture, transponder, water management, ecology, climate change. We have the Jordan-Israel Center for Environment and Society. And most of the work that we do has the transboundary aspect, that we work with scientists and researchers from Palestine, Jordan, Morocco, the United Arab Emirates. We work also because we are a non-governmental organization. We do not receive any seed funding from the Israeli government. We have to look for money. for research. So we don't do only scientific research. We do also a lot of work with the communities on the ground, because we have an agenda. We have a mission. It's environmental diplomacy, and we want people, not only scientists, students, alumni. We want normal people, regular people, to feel the fruits of cooperation. That's why we work with schools, we work with farmers, we work with non-governmental organizations, and we implement projects on the ground. That's why we work with Gaza. That's why we send projects into Gaza to produce water, to treat the wastewater, to produce solar electricity, and the same things also in the West Bank, in Jordan, to help people have high quality water that they can use it to diversify their crops, generate income. When I joined the Arava Institute, we used to chase our Palestinian Jordanian partners to do cooperation, to partner with us on the projects. And today they come to us. Today they say we have this challenge. Palestinians, organizations, schools, farmers, the relationship with the organization that we have in the United Arab Emirates, they found us. The researchers that I work with in Morocco, they came to us. They came to us, say, we have this challenge, let's design a solution together, and let's implement that solution. And when I said you buy one, get 3 free, it's you buy the research, and you build these bridges. The Moroccan partner who came to the conference on the 7th of October, he landed on the 7th of October. I sent him a message saying, don't come. And I saw only one V, and I understood that he's in the plane. And around 10 a.m., he said, I landed in Tel Aviv. I said, you book flight back, you just go home. He said, okay. And on Sunday, he's calling me and saying, you know what? I decided to stay. I decided, this is a Moroccan researcher, saying, I want to have this experience. I want to experience the war in Israel. I want to live the same conditions. And I said, thank you for your solidarity, leave. Okay, because he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what will happen. This is a different scale. He stayed for another few days. We had also a Jordanian who already was in the country, and took us like 3 or 4 days to send them back. We had 4 actually researchers from here, the US. I forgot the name of the university. They also had to leave. But when you see these things, when you see these solidarity messages, these are the 3 free things that you get. You do research, you publish papers, and you build understanding. You build bridges. You build. As my aunt, when I first left to Turkey, she said to me, build a mosque in every city you go. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I have nothing. How can I build a mosque? It's like, I said, you did not understand me. I said, no. And she said, mosque is a person, is a bridge. That means build relationships with people wherever you go. And this is what we do at the Arava Institute. We have ambassadors almost in every city in the Middle East.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of these projects, kind of what's happening on the ground, the communities that you're working with, how the alumni are engaging with each other through this work? Just a couple examples I would love to hear.
Okay, as I said, we don't do only research. We implement projects on the ground. We work with scientists. We work with non-governmental organizations, not only to publish scientific papers, but really to solve real problems on the ground. We receive requests from communities with their challenges, their needs, and we design solutions with them. I'll give you a few examples from West Bank and also in Gaza. Gaza is a home for 2.3 million people. Almost 75% of them are below the age of 30. That means 1.5 million people in Gaza are below the age of 30. They have nothing to lose. Most of them, very high percentage, they are university graduates. unemployed. Add to that the lack of electricity in Gaza. Gaza before the war used to receive like 3 to 8 hours of electricity a day. And when you don't have electricity, you cannot desalinate water. You cannot treat the wastewater in Gaza. So what happens to untreated wastewater? It just arrives to the wastewater treatment plant and they just dump it. Dump it where? To the fields or to the Eastern Mediterranean. And when they dump it into the fields, it infiltrates into the aquifer. And the coastal aquifer, the underground water, is shared between Gaza and Ashkelon and Ashdod and goes up almost to the southern parts of Gush Dan. And when they dump it into the Eastern Mediterranean, and 70% of the beaches in Gaza are polluted with sewage. That pollution reaches Ashkelon, which is like 7 or 8 miles from Gaza. And Ashkelon is the home of one of the largest desalination plants in the Middle East. And when you have pollution, when you have polluted seawater, you cannot desalinate seawater. So this pollution doesn't stay in Gaza. It impacts also Israel. That's why we sent into Gaza atmospheric water generators, a system that sucks the humidity from air and converts it into drinking water. We sent 7 systems. 4 of them are in the northern parts of Gaza. We know nothing about them now because the people cannot reach them. And we have 3 in the southern parts of Gaza. And till last week, we know that they were functioning, producing water. And these are Israeli technologies. We have the logo of the company on these systems. And people know, and Hamas know, that these systems are Israeli systems in cooperation with the Arava Institute. And by the way, when we send anything into Gaza, we do that in full coordination with the Israeli army, with the civil administration. So the army knows that also we work with Gaza. We also sent into Gaza an off-grid wastewater treatment plant that treats the wastewater in certain parts of Gaza, and the recycled water is used by a group of women to grow animal feed that creates jobs, creates income for them. And we have a lot of similar projects also in the Jordan Valley, in the Palestinian side of the Jordan Valley, on solar desalination, on off-grid wastewater treatment, solar pumping, to help farmers to adapt to climate change, because most of the aquifers in the Middle East are saline aquifers, and the salinity of the water prevents you from diversifying your crops. So when you have high quality water, you can diversify the crops. You can grow more with higher quality. We have projects in the Negev with the Bedouin communities, also on off-grid wastewater treatment, on capacity building, on solar energy. If you travel through the Negev, you see a lot of tin houses with solar panels on them, and these communities need capacity, need training on how to deal with these systems, how to deal with the organic waste that they have and they produce. We work with the schools there. We are building in a region called Al-Fur'a in the Negev, in the Bedouin communities, what we call a kind of like renewable energy education center for the kids there. We work them also on energy poverty in the Bedouin communities. We do a lot also of capacity building for Palestinians from the West Bank and also from Gaza. We have projects in the Arava Valley in the Jordanian side. We had a lot of projects also in the northern parts of Jordan. We have also projects with the people in southern Arava on the Israeli side, and we have what we call the off-grid village and research park, where we demonstrate technologies that can help communities and people to adapt and mitigate climate change. It's kind of a science park where students, engineers, technicians come and learn these technologies. Our alumni, because they in our academic program, in every course you have to do project. You have to write a paper, and the students learn how to do research. And in that course, we have a course, we call it independent study and research methodologies. They learn how to collect data, how to analyze data, how to write a scientific paper. and they have sessions also on how to fundraise. It's not a typical academic course, and this opens the eyes to the technologies that we have in the park, because they do their research in the technologies that we have, and that creates a sense of entrepreneurship with the students, and that's why they go and they feel that they can contribute. They go very enthusiastic to start a startup or to start a company, and this is how they continue their future.
If it's okay with you, we'll take a couple questions from the audience. Yeah, does anyone have a question for Dr. Abu Hamed? I can bring the mic around. Yeah. Just in case. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's what you're describing is truly profound. Seeing the humanity in one another, and I think so needed. My question is about the dialogues that you have, the 6 hours a week dialogues. I'm curious who facilitates those and how the participants are kind of primed to learn how to reach this listening and understanding that you described.
Okay, excellent question. Look, when the students come to the Arava Institute, most of them say, no, I came for the science. I will not talk politics, I will not go to this course. And we say, fine, but this is compulsory and you have to go. So there's a kind of resistance, because we know campuses around the world. We know campuses, especially in the Middle East. You go from the gate of the campus, no politics. You cannot talk politics. In the Middle East, you cannot talk politics even at home. But so the facilitation is done by 3 facilitators. We have one Palestinian, one Israeli, and one international, to give the students the feeling that they are represented in this dialogue forum. They gain a lot of tools on compassionate listening, how to express yourself, to express your identity, the history of the conflict. There is groups like Arabic speakers, Hebrew speakers, English speakers. A lot of sessions that you talk with the group that its identity is similar to you, and then the whole group come together. And with the facilitators, they decide on a certain topic that they want to discuss. And we also bring a lot of speakers from the outside, from the right wing, left wing, Palestinians. We also have a trip for them in the less complex city in the world, Jerusalem. So they go to Jerusalem. Again, they talk to the Palestinians in Jerusalem, to the Jewish people in Jerusalem, east, west. They go to the Palestinian villages in the western part of Jerusalem. We take them to the Holocaust Museum, to Yad Vashem, and they are, exposed to the reality of the Middle East. It's done in a very controlled and constructive way. What happens in the dialogue forum is between the facilitators and the students. No staff or faculty is allowed to go there, in order to give the students the feeling that they are in a safe space, and they know that whatever they say will not impact their grades. And this is what we call a safe space at the Arava Institute, that you can say anything, anytime at the Arava Institute. I mentioned Yad Vashem, and I really want to tell you a story. In one of the trips that we had to Yad Vashem, we had students from Gaza, and we had Israeli Jewish student who did her civil service in the Holocaust Museum in Yad Vashem. We arrived there, and the Jewish Israeli student, her name is Odelia, says to the Palestinian student, you know what, I did my civil service here. Come, let's leave the group, I'll give you the tour. She gives him the tour, and at the end of the tour, he looks at her and he says, you don't know what, Odelia? Now I understand why you Jewish people needed the state. This is from a Gazan who never left Gaza before, and his first time in Israel, his first time exposure to the Jewish people. And that shows also the level of understanding and empathy. It's always hard discussions. It's always hard, but it's very well structured. And if it can happen between Israelis and Palestinians who are part of the conflict, and we see these nice communities, nice empathy, nice results, this could work also here in the US campuses here. And we've been approached by universities here to have the model that we have at the Arava Institute and implement it also here in the US.
Yeah, one more question, I think. Ed?
That's sort of my question. You're all engineers and scientists, and you have a common goal, and that helps you work together despite differences. How do we export that to the rest of the community, both in Israel and here? And is there, I may be asking you something that's impossible. I hope not. I mean, a lot of us know a person named Michael Oakes, who is a musician, and he's tried to do this, and with mixed success. When it's successful, it's heartwarming. When it's not, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, look, this is a type of the bottom-up approach, and we see that it's really working. It's really changing the participants of this program and changing the behavior or the perception of the people that we work with in the Negev, in Israel, in the West Bank. And look, we are a small program. We have capacity for 60 students a semester, which is a small number. In a good year, we reach like 120 students. That's why we decided to expand the campus of the Arava Institute. We are building a new campus. We want to grow up to 90 students, and the second stage to 150 students. And maybe one day we will become the Arava Institute, maybe the Arava University in the southern parts of Israel. But we are the proof of concept. We know that it's really working. We see the results. We see it. And that's why also we established the Track 2 environmental forum. We want to engage more civil society organizations. We want to engage decision makers. That's why we work also now with the government in the West Bank, with the Israeli government. The previous government before this one, we've been approached by the Minister of Energy, Minister of Environment, Minister of Regional Cooperation, the Israeli, and the Minister of Defense. They came to the Arava Institute and they said, we know what you do, and we want to expand. We want to have more projects in those, because these guys saw they see the potential. They see that when you help people in a humanitarian way, in humanitarian aid, in the projects, when you help farmers, this really stabilizes the region. And once you have that intelligent government that we did not have for a long time, neither here or there, things can happen. And really what keeps me drive from Jerusalem every week to the Arava Institute, because I see the impact. It's not easy. We know how polarized the world is. You know how polarized Israel is. You know how Palestinians don't still digest working with the Israelis. These students, these alumni get a lot of criticism, attacks, but they know it's working. They see the benefit of that. And I think we live in a time and in a region that no one of us has the luxury give up on things that we believe in. And the things that we believe in, it's working. It's working with excellent results.
I really can't think of a more inspiring person to talk to right now during Hanukkah, especially. Thank you for bringing so much light to our celebration, for sharing your story. I think you've given me a kind of a new vision for what's possible, and I'm so grateful that you're here tonight. How can we support your work? How can we best support the Arava Institute? Where should we go to learn more? Can we visit? What can we do?
Okay, the light needs a fuel. And the fuel of the non-governmental organization is the green paper. And look, we need the support for students to come to study at the Arava Institute. If you know young people, young generation, send them to the Arava Institute. In order to bring Palestinians or Arab students, we have to provide full scholarship for these students because they cannot afford to study in Israel. I'm here with Rachel Carico. Rachel is the Chief Executive, Chief Development Officer at the Friends of the Arava Institute. It's based on Boston. 2/3 of our budget comes from the Friends of the Arava Institute, and 1/3 we raise it for research in Israel. So students or financial support to keep that light on.
Can I add something since you introduced me? Hi, thanks. So you can go to our website. We try to be in person, but Tareq lives in Israel and we can only travel so much. We offer Zoom classes and opportunities where we bring our faculty through Zoom to speak, and students and alumni sometimes as well. And you can sign up through our website, arava.org, to learn more and get information also and learn more about what we're doing. So.
Okay, well, we're praying for the health and safety of your students who are currently on campus and who are in Gaza now and who are in the West Bank and in Israel, and you and your family as well. And I'm wondering if you want to close us out with a word of hope or a word of prayer, any way you want to end.
Well, it's again. I would like to end it saying it's really possible. I'm a Palestinian who lives in Israel, exposed to both sides. I have the Israeli ID, and I go to Akko, Yafo, Tel Aviv, Beersheba, and at the same time I go to Nablus, I go to Ramallah, I go to Bethlehem. And I'm exposed to both sides. I work with farmers, with schools, I know the people in the street. And I certainly can tell you that 95%, if not more, of people on both sides want to live in peace. But there's a fear, and that fear comes from the disconnection. And we need to connect people together. And it's really possible. It's really working, and we need more. And it's something that we just need to support, to give people the opportunity to see the human in the other, and that's what we would like to see in a larger scale, in not only in Israel, Palestine, also here. Don't have that fear to reflect, to talk, to connect with the other. Probably some of you have Arab American friends. Talk to them. Send them a message. If you know any Palestinian, really, that really means a lot. When I receive support messages from Palestinians, that makes my day. But when I receive a support message from Jewish Israeli, that means the world for me. And this is what we can do to show the other, the solidarity, the support, and the result of that will be huge, and you will see that.
Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.